Hello, we are Tim, Kaye, Mikey, and Fem, and we will be presenting our capstone project entitled TalkingVac, Answering Metro Manila's COVID-19 Vaccine Questions. 2020 will go down in our modern history as the year of the COVID-19 pandemic. This infectious respiratory disease has disrupted the daily lives of billions of people around the world. The first case of COVID-19 in the Philippines was identified on January 30, 2020, and eventually spread throughout the country, prompting the government to impose lockdowns or community quarantines to limit the spread of the virus. In order for our daily lives to get back to normal, we have to reach herd immunity. But what is herd immunity? Herd immunity occurs when a large portion of a community, the herd, becomes immune to a disease, making the spread from person to person unlikely. It is vital because herd immunity protects the whole community and not just those who are immune. Moreover, the more contagious a disease is, the greater the proportion of the population that needs to be immune to it to stop the spread. For example, measles is a highly contagious illness. It's estimated that 94% of the population must be immune to interrupt the chain of transmission. How do we achieve herd immunity for COVID-19? There are two paths: vaccines and natural infection. Vaccines are the ideal approach because they create immunity without causing illness or resulting complications. Using the concept of herd immunity, vaccines have successfully controlled deadly contagious diseases such as smallpox, polio, and many others. As to the natural infection, for COVID-19, even though majority are asymptomatic or with mild symptoms, some develop complications and turn into severe symptoms, which could be deadly. In this project, we explore what are the sentiments of the people on COVID-19 vaccination through sentiment analysis, what are the main concerns on COVID-19 vaccination through topic modeling, and how do we address people's questions on COVID-19 vaccination through building a question answering bot. Pam will explain to us how we gathered and processed the data.
Thanks, Tim. To start off our project, we chose Twitter to be our data source, and we scraped it using Asana Scrape. The scope of our scraping is within Metro Manila and within the time frame of December 2020 to March 2021, using the keywords below. We limited our scraping within Metro Manila to be able to translate these tweets later on. The total tweets we got were almost 30,000 with a little more than 3,000 unique tweets. And to ensure the quality of the insights from our models, we meticulously checked the tweets and removed unrelated tweets, such as those mentioning a different kind of vaccine like flu or anti-rabies, using as in replacement of the word as, those that use a different dialect that cannot be translated by Google Translate, and those that mention the vaccine brand name but are actually a totally different thing, like a fashion store with the name Moderna. After that, we translated the tweets containing the Filipino language using Google Translate API, but there were still tweets that Google wasn't able to translate, so we manually translated them. We then proceeded to transform this data set into a format that the model requires. For how this data is used to tackle a problem statement, here's Tim.
We answered the question, what are the sentiments of the people on COVID-19 vaccination through sentiment analysis? With the clean and formatted data, we computed the weights of each tweet to adjust the impact, 1 for the original tweet and 0.5 for the retweets. Then we generated positivity and subjectivity scores using TextBlob to get the result. As we can see by this pie chart, almost half of the sentiments on Twitter were positive. We also included sample tweets based on the generated sentiments. For example, a tweet tagged as positive is, "Not a COVID-free Christmas, but at least vaccines are already around the corner." Next, Mikey will explain to us how we approach our question.
All right, thanks, Tim. Tim discussed how Metro Manila users felt towards vaccine and vaccination. So having an idea of how they feel, we now want to be more specific. This leads us to our second question. What are the main concerns around COVID-19 vaccination? This part uses topic modeling. In a nutshell, topic modeling uses statistical models to group tweets together. We then try to identify the topics discussed by each group of tweets. To identify these topics, we look at two things: the words associated with each group of tweets and the tweets that are most representative of each group. The topics shown here represent the concerns and thoughts on the vaccination and vaccines in the country. The topics are largely about the logistics, the procurement, and the efficacy of the vaccine. For example, 12% of the tweets talk about the FDA approval of vaccines, while another 11% talk about the start of the vaccine rollout. So, to assist in providing answers to these concerns, we proceed to the third and last question to be explained by Kaye.
Thanks, Mikey. So our final question then is, how do we address people's main questions or concerns on COVID-19 vaccination as identified using topic modeling? We decided to create a chatbot, which is a concrete, useful, and highly relevant product which addresses the identified concerns on COVID vaccines. We have created a question answering bot by training it on various question and answer pairs on general COVID-19 vaccine queries. So once the user inputs a question, the bot then matches the input question with the questions in the training dataset. It then gets the answer to the question closest to the input, which it then returns as an output. So finally, we would like to introduce you to our COVID-19 vaccine chatbot called TalkingVac. TalkingVac is best used for quickly accessing generally verified information about COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccination, taking in a wide variety of frequently asked question and answer pairs from various reputable web sources such as DOH, PSMID, WHO, and CDC. We have created two types of chatbots, one using Chatterbot and the other using BRIT, to be able to leverage on the accuracy levels of both approaches. So we will be guiding you through our Streamlit app and first demonstrate the chatbot we have created using Chatterbot. So upon opening the chatbot, the user can select between two options: questions on COVID-19 and questions on COVID-19 vaccines. So if we select questions on COVID-19 vaccines and type in the question, what vaccines are available? The bot will return the following response. So the available vaccines in the Philippines are Sinovac and AstraZeneca. Further, to aid in the improvement of the chatbot response during the testing phase and prior to the official deployment of our chatbot, we have included a feature wherein the user can input the correct response to the question in the case that the bot does not fully recognize the question asked. However, upon official deployment of the chatbot, we will remove this functionality to preserve the integrity of the dataset. And suppose that the chatbot does not output a reasonable response to the question, we have also included an additional feature in the chatbot which provides 5 recommended questions based on the user input. So for example, if we select the question, are vaccines already available in the Philippines? It would return the corresponding answer to the question. So that is all for Chatterbot. Our second chatbot using BERT will be demonstrated by Fem.
Thanks, Kaye. As Kaye mentioned, this version uses BERT model. BERT stands for Bidirectional Encoder Representations from Transformers. It is a transformer-based machine learning technique for natural language programming pre-training developed by Google. So if we're going to input the same question that Kaye asked earlier, the model takes that in and matches it with the closest question from the dataset, and it will return an answer, which is an extracted form of the longer version of the answer. We also included the link here in case you want to check or verify the information, and to also inform you when our dataset was last updated. In its current form, TalkingVac can answer frequently asked questions about COVID-19 vaccines and vaccination in the Philippines, as well as general guidelines in vaccination, like how to get vaccinated and the things to do before and after vaccination. However, TalkingVac cannot tell you real-time COVID-19 statistics, specific, personalized, and/or localized information, and to talk to you in Filipino. But these are the things that can be a starting point for improvement for TalkingVac's succeeding versions. That's the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for listening.